Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot, and I'm back today with another in my deck study series of videos. I'm pleased to say that I've concluded my month with the Bosch Tarot, and although the deck improved for me as time went on, I got to know the ways of that deck a bit better and how it could help me. I did find it quite a dark and oppressive experience, if I'm honest. So this next choice, the Witch's Wisdom, I think I bought this about a month ago from eBay, and I bought it from a private seller. It was brand new and sealed and wrapped, and it was a good price actually, because I've noticed on Amazon this goes for about £27 or £28 in the UK. I think I bought it for about 20, so I was quite pleased with that. But unfortunately, when it came, I'll just show you, it had been damaged in transit, or at least the box had anyway. You can see here, it's like somebody had just stood on it really and crushed the box, but the cards were still sealed and absolutely fine inside. So hey, it's one of those things. So, excuse me, this deck is by Phyllis Curott, and the artwork is by Danielle Barlow, and this deck is by Hay House. Yeah, so it says on the back here, the two witches, an American Wiccan high priestess and an English head witch, spent a year journeying into each other's realms. The wisdom they received led them to create a radical new interpretation of the tarot for these times. Unlike traditional tarot, which guides the seeker to enlightenment by leaving the earth behind, they were shown a tarot for the earth, offering a profound and magical journey into the world and not out of it. So that was quite interesting to me, to be honest, and I did buy this deck on a bit of an impulse. I hadn't seen anybody else work with it or review it, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. I was just very much drawn to these kind of nature-based images, and I have to say, I love the deck already. Already I can feel how much I love this deck. So inside the box there's a couple of little poems, and it says, ask your questions, shuffle the cards, open the book and take a look. Spirit hears what's in your heart and answers with love, wisdom and art. So that's beautiful. It's actually quite a cute little box, really. It's also a lovely, lovely guidebook, I have to say. I really do like this. I think I've got my camera too low to be able to turn the pages and show you, but look at that, look. How gorgeous is that? This is a sort of sort of hardback book. It's got a page for each of the cards. Yeah, there's no pictures in this cards, it's all writing, but that's absolutely fine. So I'll put that there, and I'll put the deck next to it. The deck, by the way, also actually comes in this little sort of cotton bag with rope at the top to tie it, which is quite pretty, but I probably won't use it. I like to sort of stack my decks in different ways, but still quite pretty, quite nice thing for it to come in. So this is the back of the cards. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my first impressions of these cards actually, and then I'll pause the video and come back when I've set up with some cards for the deck interview that I did with this deck just a couple of days ago actually. So let's put those there. I can't talk and show you cards. I find it really quite difficult. But anyway, so my first impressions are I love it, really. I love the colours. I love that it immediately feels a healing deck. It's fresh, it's kind of spring-like, and it brings you back to nature. It's beautiful. Most of the images in the minor arcana are animals and plants. And although it is very different from the Rider-Waite-Smith system in lots and lots of ways, I think that there is enough in these cards to still read them if you have a knowledge of Rider-Waite-Smith. If you have a basic knowledge of tarot, I think you could read these cards, certainly intuitively, but I wouldn't say, hang on, let's blow that out. I finally decided to catch fire. So yeah, I don't think this would be a good deck for beginners, if I'm honest, just because it is so radically different. And I think if you learn this deck, you would then struggle to learn other decks because it is really quite different. The deck was sealed this way with the minor arcana on the top. In the minor arcana, we go from 1 through to 10, and then we have a messenger. This is the messenger of air. And we do see people in the court cards. And then we have the witch. And I think it's interesting because they've swapped around the genders completely on all of these things. So normally a messenger or a page would be female. And here we've got a witch, which would normally be a knight. And that would normally be male, wouldn't it? And then the queen we have as a craftsman, and that's male in this suit. And then where we would normally have a king, we have a goddess, who is obviously female. So beautiful. So what else did I want to say about the deck? I think let's just have a look through the minor arcana, and then I think what I really want to talk about is the major arcana, because that's where most of the big differences are. Look at these cards though, aren't they beautiful? I think I've already got some favourites here amongst these, just from my week with this deck, really. So when I say first impressions, it's not like it's my first impression straight out of the box, but I haven't worked with this deck a lot so far. That's beautiful. Oh, look, baboons. It's just gorgeous animals that you would never expect to see on tarot cards are all here. That's stunning, isn't it? Excuse me, the Ten of Fire. It's like the guidebook, the artwork in the guidebook. Witch of Fire with a snake. Craftsman of Fire. And Goddess of Fire with her cauldron. The water. The otters, how lovely. I absolutely love the colour palette in this deck. This is really my favourite sort of colours, and it's bright enough without being gaudy and sort of in your face. It's lovely. The Seven of Water, what's that? So that's like I don't know what that is. That could be looking down at the earth from up high, couldn't it? At a lake or something in the desert, couldn't it? I don't know what that is. Oh, look at the turtles. So even though these cards are really quite radically different actually from Rider-Waite-Smith and imagery, the energy is still there, I think. And you know, in cards like this one, the Eight of Water, we can see that here, because normally we would see somebody walking away from something, somebody leaving something behind, and that's kind of exactly what's going on here, isn't it? These little turtles are beginning the next chapter of their life. It's lovely. Messenger of water. Oh, they're beautiful. Wow. I think I have to say in the minor arcana, it is the earth cards that are my favourite. Oh, look at the bear. And I think I have to say, out of all of the cards, this one is my absolute favourite, the Three of Earth. I mean, how often do you see horses in a deck? And these are gorgeous Shire horses with the white horse, which I can't remember where that is in the UK. I should know that. I can't remember. But anyway, I love that card. I think that's my favourite Three of Pentacles ever. We've got some standing stones. Six of Earth. This reciprocal kind of energy. See, the energies are still there. Yeah, we can still see. We can still see what we need to know in these cards. We can still see that energy. And look at this. I think this is going to be one of my favourites as well, the Ten of Earth. That's normally a card of sort of connections and community and networking. And here we've got that community and that networking in a very different way. You know, these mushrooms, all of their little spores. I can't remember the name for all the little wispy spidery bits that go out into the ground, but they can travel for miles, can't they? Everything is connected. It's gorgeous. Craftsman of Earth. Look at that, look. I couldn't see it up close, but looking at it on the camera, we can see the face there, can't we? The Goddess. And so, that's the minor arcana. So, while they are different from what we would expect with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, they're not so different that you couldn't read with them. The major arcana, on the other hand, are really quite different, and it's like they're in reverse, to be honest. And I really didn't realise this until I started to read the guidebook. Many of the themes have changed, the names have changed. She said in her book, so Phyllis said in her book that she called this a universal shamanic journey. She said its direction is down into oneself, into the womb of the mother, into the womb of Mother Earth, and not up to heaven and the Father. So I was just kind of thinking about that before I even get to show you some of these cards, because I suppose I don't necessarily see tarot as a journey up towards a father figure. I've always seen it as a journey towards self, towards individuation and wholeness and completion. It's strange, you know, I've never felt able to be part of any organised religion, such as Christianity or Catholicism or anything like that, because I think, one, I'm a bit of a lone wolf for a start, but also when I really think about it, because spirituality attracts me strongly, but when I really think about organised religion, I just think that it's done far more harm to society historically than good, especially for women. But I can also see the benefits of it in some ways, and I can also see the parallels between those kind of religions and more contemporary, modern day thinking and practices. For instance, things such as prayer and confession. You know, if we think about the confession box in Catholicism, that is shadow work, isn't it? Or it should be. It should be shadow work. The priest should act as a mirror, and so it should help. It should be a reflective practice. And I think, you know, we're all very keen to talk about shadow work these days, as if it's something, excuse me, as if it's something new, but it's really not, is it? Anything that causes you to look at yourself, that's a reflective process, is shadow work. And many old established religions have a lot of that kind of energy running through it. So yeah, anything that really is a mirror for our thoughts and behaviour is a reflective process. And I think tarot cards are a fantastic mirror, whatever your spiritual beliefs, really. I just think that over recent decades with feminism, there came goddess worship, and we started to move away from anything sort of more masculine, I suppose, a patriarch. There became a sort of a general scorn, I think, amongst many people, especially women, about anything masculine. But for me, it's never felt that way. You know, I suppose I'm quite old-fashioned. I appreciate the differences between men and women. And for me, if anything, it's really about uniting those polarities within ourselves. That male-female energy, the yin and the yang, the anima, the animus. These are all things that we all have within us. You know, we're all made up of bits and pieces of masculine energies and feminine energies, and really those two polarities need to come into balance. And for me, that's also something that tarot and shadow work is very good at. So I don't necessarily go along the whole way with the, you know, tarot is not about returning to the heavens, it's about returning to the earth. I think it's about return to yourself, and yourself is wherever or whoever you want to be, or wherever you want to go. It doesn't really matter, does it? I hope you understand what I mean by that. Anyway, let me just look at my notes and see if there's anything else I want to say. Yeah, so let's have a look at these cards. So as you can see, we are starting at number 1, the Fool. The Fool. See, it's so ingrained into my head, isn't it, that the first card has to be the Fool. I'm even saying it quite unconsciously. But number 1 here is the World. And I think what I've decided with these cards already is I'm going to ignore the numbers. I'm going to read them intuitively, and I'm going to read them as they are. I think it messes with my head too much to try and take notice of the numbers. So in the World here, what we can see is this woman leaving her city behind, which is burning. And then we have, for the last card here, we have the Pilgrim at 0, which we then see this same female looking much more comfortable in her environment. She's with her favourite fox, and it's all very nature-based, isn't it? And I think I like that, actually. I like that the World card here sees her walking away from that sort of modern life, that maybe the burning city represents something quite toxic, and there is a return back to nature here in the Pilgrim, if we were to read it that way round. But I think really I'm going to have to read this as a traditional tarot deck with the major arcana. I don't think I can be doing with the numbers here. So so the second card, initiation, that would be judgment, wouldn't it? And number 3, we've got the sun, we've got the moon, we've got the star. Look at that, it's beautiful. We've got card number 6, which would be what would that be? That would be the tower, wouldn't it? The maze. We can see that kind of energy going on in the background there with the lightning. Card number 7 would be the devil, wouldn't it? See, do you know what I mean? This is ancestor. I can't be doing with the numbers. So I think it really does mess with my head, actually. It's enough that the names are different without the numbers being different, without it being back to front. So I think I will read these the right way round in my head anyway. So then we've got healing, which is obviously temperance. That's beautiful. We've got rebirth, which I kept thinking was the hermit for so long, but obviously is death. Then we've got the hanged man, which is really interesting, offering. Then we've got justice. Look at that balance, that's beautiful. That's lovely. Then we've got the wheel of life. Then we've got, this one is the hermit, isn't it? The shaman. The shaman is the hermit. See, the hermit has no business having number 13. Then we have strength. Look at that. And then we have the chariot, which is journey. See, again, the number 15. Oh, it just messes with my head. It's no good. We have love, the lovers. As I said, with her favourite fox. Then we have the Hierophant, the wisdom keeper. We have the Guardian, which is the Emperor. We have the beautiful Great Mother, which is the Empress. We have the High Priestess. The Council of All Beings is the Magician. And then we have the Pilgrim. So I think you'll have to let me know in the comments what you think about what I've said. But I mean, some of you may be much more clever than I am and be able to read these in the way that the author and the creator designed them to be read. But for me, I just don't honestly think that I can do it. I think that I'm going to have to treat them as a normal deck and read them in that way. And I shall certainly use the guidebook with this deck, because I think the guidebook is fantastic. It gives you another level to your existing knowledge of tarot. And to be honest, I absolutely love the little exercises in the deck, the sort of magical little exercises. Really, really nice. I might do a deck pairing with this deck, because I think I've got a few decks actually that would go well with it. So I might do a separate video of that. And I will definitely be back in maybe 3 or 4 weeks' time to give my final thoughts of this deck and to show you some of my journal readings with it as well. So if you have this deck or you're thinking about buying it, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please do say hello in the comments. And as I said, I'm going to pause the video now and I will be back with the deck interview. Okay, so I've got the 6 cards here for the 6 questions that I asked this deck. And the first question is describe yourself. And let's put those over there. And I drew the 10 of air, this gorgeous, gorgeous card, which actually on the day that I drew it, I had actually seen this happening in the sky where I live, this murmuration of all these starlings. There's a massive gang of starlings where I live, and they go round and they raid all the bird feeders, and then they do these beautiful murmurations in the sky. And so yeah, this is what I drew for describe yourself. And normally we see a person lying on the ground with swords stuck in their back, don't we? It's quite a miserable, painful ending of something, but it couldn't be further from the truth here, could it? So the keywords for this card were wonderment, harmony and communication. And I think this card is about connections, isn't it? That, you know, this wonderful sort of phenomena of these birds that are able to fly, you know, in unison, completely connected to each other. It's just a real mystery, isn't it? How they manage to do that is quite magical. And I think to me that's what this deck is. I think that sums up what this deck is to me. It's quite magical. It's a deck of connections and harmony and wonderment and awe and this connection with nature. So yeah, there we go. Question number 2 is what is your strength? And I drew card number 15, which we're ignoring numbers, aren't we? This is journey. And this, at first I was looking at this thinking, devil, the devil, how is this the devil? And then I realised, obviously, it's not the devil, is it? It's the chariot card, which makes a lot more sense with the word journey. So the key words of this card are pilgrimage, movement, and self-discovery. This card really is urging you to trust the process, to trust the path, to ask questions about where you're going, where do you want to go. There's a lot of movement in this card, isn't there? I think at the bottom here we've got a little man and his horse, and they've got a long, long way to go there. But this is, as I said, this is a journey of self-discovery, isn't it? This is what this is about. So as a strength, this deck is encouraging you to trust your instincts, and I think will help you to trust your instincts, because I think in many ways also this deck is quite a somatic deck. I think, is that the right word? As in, it's a deck that helps you get in touch with your feelings and your body, the things that you feel and sense in your body, how you feel when you're out in nature, when the sun shines on your face. You know, I think that definitely is its strength, really, is it helps you to feel, it helps you to clarify what you're doing, where you're going, and why, I think, really. By trusting your instincts and by being kind of a pilgrim, you know, of taking this journey quite seriously, you know, having a destination in mind and a reason for that destination in mind. The next question is, what is your weakness? And I drew the 8 of water in this, the 8 of cups, this lovely card of the turtles climbing out of the sand and making their perilous little journey down to the water there. So this is a card of instinct, isn't it? You know, it's purely instinct that makes these turtles climb up out of the sand and return to the water. So their adventure has begun. This is a pull in a new direction. And I've written in my journal, how is this a weakness? How is this a weakness? Trust your instincts, awakening. There's obviously movement here as well. There's moving away from things, a fresh start. I'm not entirely sure how that's a weakness. It's obviously an emotional card, the Eight of Water. I don't know. How is that a weakness? For me particularly, it feels like it's really important that I get to sit in my feelings, to sit in my emotional state, to trust my instincts, to not overthink things, to go with my instincts. So I don't know. I shall have to ponder that some more. The next card that we've got here, did I write anything in my journal? See, what I did write in my journal actually was that, so yeah, let's just say about these three cards actually before I move on to the next three. I've put in my journal, this deck can help me feel connected to nature and the divine. It can help me find wonder and awe at the beauty of life, which I think is here, isn't it? The deck can help bring me back into alignment with my instinct and my heart, leaving old ideas and conditioning behind, becoming free. And I think that's what's going on here with the journey and the Eight of Water. I think the Bosch deck for me that I've been studying and looking at for the past month, it was just, it made me feel like I was stuck in my head a lot of the time. I mean, it gave me insight and it gave me clarity into some of my issues, but it didn't give me a way out. It didn't give me a path out of it. It just made me feel stuck in my head even more. Whereas I do feel that this deck could offer me a path ahead. It could offer me a way out. It could offer me freedom from that kind of overthinking. And the only thing I'd written in my journal about this card here and how it could possibly be a weakness is that I'm uncomfortable in my feeling state sometimes. You know, it can feel like overwhelm to be in my emotional state too much of the time. Yeah, so perhaps that's something that I need to work on rather than a weakness in the deck. I'm not sure. So the next three cards we've got are, the next question is describe me. I always wait with bated breath to see what the deck decides it thinks about me. And I drew the World card, which I'm going to take as the world. I'm not going to take it as the Fool, as the start point of the journey. I'm going to see this as the end point of the journey. I'm going to see this as the world, I think. And I've written in my journal here that she's broken free. She strides into the unknown. She's had some sort of clarity, some sort of awareness about her situation and her place in the world. And she's striding into the unknown. She's got herself all prepared. She's got a good sturdy boots on. She's got her rucksack. She's got her books. You know, she's ready. She's ready to take on the world. And to be honest, I was so pleased to see that as a card for me, because the last couple of years really for me have been all about breaking down and breaking free from things that didn't serve me any longer, you know, my job, past relationships, ways of thinking, self-limiting thoughts and behaviour. I'm not saying that I'm free from those things, not at all, but I am in process of trying to be. I'm trying to be more conscious, to catch myself, to to just be much more conscious with myself about things. So I'm really, really pleased to see this, because this is leaving the old world behind. And that does feel very much like something I have been doing. I mean, my life has just transformed in the last 3 years. It's unrecognisable, actually, from what it was before. The next card that I got is, the question for this is, what can you teach me? How can I best collaborate with you? And when I first pulled this, I just looked at the number and I just thought, this is the Hermit. I've pulled the Hermit again for me. How wonderful. But obviously it's not, is it? This is rebirth and this is the Death card. So again, I think this is a brilliant card really to have drawn. This is like returning hope, you know, a new start, springtime. The Pilgrim is becoming wise. This is about letting go of the past, allowing the flow of life to return, feeling connected. And that's really very much what I'm hoping this deck can teach me, and how I can work with it is it can help me to find balance. It can help me to find a newfound hope and faith, to feel part of things again, you know, to have that new start and to feel connected and to feel part of things again. So that was wonderful. And then the last question that I asked was, what is the potential of our relationship? Is it an enduring relationship? And I drew the Four of Fire, this lovely little fox family, which features quite heavily actually in this deck. The Pilgrim has her fox with her, and this fox appears quite often. So this, excuse me, the keywords for this card that I see are home and safety and comfort and family. And I've written in my journal that this deck could really just feel like coming home to me. You know, in the background there's a little house there with smoke coming out of the top of it, and this lovely little family here, the structure of that family. So yeah, home. And home is everything to me, to be honest. So if this deck starts to feel like home for me, then it will be an enduring relationship, that's for sure. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you've enjoyed seeing these beautiful cards. You know, look at the colours here. They're just so vibrant and alive and fresh. And there's a real feel of springtime, I think, to this deck, which is great for me at the moment. I've got crocuses coming up in my little garden. I've got little daffodils. My hedge outside my back window is full of sparrows and blackbirds and robins, and it does feel very spring-like. I'm sure that our UK weather will decide that it's not spring and it will go back to winter quite soon, but at the moment it feels spring-like, and this deck resonates with that. So I hope that you've enjoyed it. Please do say hello in the comment box, and if you have experience of working with this deck, please do tell me, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.